chapter 14, 7 through 24. He went out to tell a story to the guests around the table. Noticing how each had tried to elbow into place of honor, he said, when someone invites you to dinner, don't take the place of honor. Somebody more important than you might have been invited by a host. Then he'll come out and call out in front of everybody, you're in the wrong place. The place of honor belongs to this man. Red-faced, you'll have to make your way to the very last table, the only place left. When you're invited to dinner, go and sit at the last place. Then, when the host comes, he may very well say, friend, come up to the front. That will give the dinner guest something to talk about. What I'm saying is this. If you walk around with your nose in the air, you're going to end up flat on your face. But if you're content to be simply yourself, you will become more than yourself. Then he turned to the host. The next time you go on dinner, don't just invite your friends, family, and rich neighbors, the kind of people who will return the favor. Invite someone who will never get invited out, the misfits from the wrong side of the tracks. You'll be an experience, a blessing. They won't be able to return the favor, but the favor will be returned. Oh, how it will be returned at the resurrection of God's people. That triggered a response from one of the guests. How fortunate the one who gets to eat dinner in God's kingdom. Jesus followed up, yes, for there was once a man who threw a great dinner party and invited many. When it was time for dinner, he sent out his servant to the invited guests, saying, come on in, the food's on the table. Then they all began to beg off, one after another, making excuses. The first said, I bought a piece of property and needed to look it over. Send my regrets. Another said, I just bought 5 teams of oxen. I really need to get to check them out. Send my regrets. And yet another said, I just got married and need to get home to my wife. The servant went back and told the master, it's disappointing. He told the master, what happened? What happened? He was outraged. He told the servant, quickly, get out into the city streets and alleys. Collect all who look like they need a square meal. All the misfits and homeless and wretched you can lay your hands on. And bring them here. The servant reported back, Master, I did what you commanded, and there's still room. The master said, then go to the country roads. Whoever you find, drag them in. I want my house full. Let me tell you, not one of these originally invited is going to get as much of a bite at my dinner party. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Stand really still. It's going to be really hard for me to do. Okay, I'm just going to turn it off. We'll just talk loud, okay? This is our final sermon in our series, The Power of Story. 7 weeks we've been talking about the significance of the story in our life and our faith and what story can do to us that our rational minds, our logic won't allow to happen. Story has a way of kind of like yeast in the bread, salt of the earth, getting into our lives and forming us and shaping us, and sometimes we don't even know what's happening. It's beautiful. Today's story is called Salvation for a Demon. And the stories I've been using for this series have been coming from this book. It's called The Orthodox Heretic by Peter Rollins. A pretty cool name. So there once was a kindly old priest in the countryside. He was known throughout all the land for his compassion, his graciousness, his kindness, his hospitality, his love. People would come to him from afar off and come and stay in the sanctuary or come and worship, and he would graciously open the doors to whoever needed anything. Sometimes people might even take things, and the priest's mentality was, well, they must need it more than I do here in the sanctuary. One night it was raining. It was a stormy, horrible night outside. The priest was in prayer at the altar in the sanctuary when he heard a loud, obnoxious knock at the door. The priest opened the door, and there, standing before him, was a large, vile, disgusting demon, breathing over the priest. He said, I need a place to come in. And he said, you're welcome. Come on in. The demon walked in. The priest continued in prayer. The demon began to rip pyramids off the walls and throw holy icons down on the ground, cursing God's name as he went through the sanctuary. The priest continued in prayer all the while. It was a long day. The priest was getting tired, and he began to head towards his house. The demon said, I need something to eat. And the The priest said, "You're welcome in my home. Let me prepare a meal for you." The priest began to prepare a meal as they got into his humble home. And the demon went through his house, breaking icons, ripping his prayer journal apart, taking his Bibles and throwing them on the floor, his crosses, his crucifixes, and putting them on the ground. Then they had a meal together. At the end of the meal, the demon said, "Priest, you let me into your church. You let me into your home. I have one more request. Let me into your heart." The priest said, "What I have is yours. What I am is yours." The demon, not knowing how to respond, flee, never to be seen again. It's saying that it said in that land that the demon was able to get whatever he needed to get from the priest in his complete freedom and compassion and love, as he had nothing to attach to, but only show utter compassion and hospitality to his vile neighbor. And at the end of the evening, the priest crawled into his bed, and just before he retired, he wondered, "Okay, my Christ, what guys will you take next?" What a challenging story. What a challenging story of hospitality. It proposes this tension between responsible hospitality and radical hospitality. We're left asking questions. What does my hospitality compare to this priest? What does our hospitality reflect compared to this priest? We're left asking questions, but our resources are limited. We can only do so much. And what about taking care of ourselves? An empty cup can only hold water for so long, very temporarily. That tension is there before us at all times as Christ's followers. That hospitality that is never quite radical enough, but always needs to be responsible. That is very challenging. Today we're going to explore that together. Jesus was a foodie. He loved food. It was a sacred thing for him today. If Jesus were with us today in the flesh, I certainly think he could be wherever the food trucks are. There's some seriously delicious food happening in food trucks. I like to find where they are. North Carolina Pit Smoke Barbecue, Duck Donuts, the craft food movement, Jesus would be there. He would be enjoying that stuff. Hands down, Jesus would insist you take him to Frank's Pizza over Domino's any day. Don't you dare take him to Domino's or Pizza Hut. Jesus knew that food was sacred. Food came from the earth, just like we did. I think Jesus would be strongly against the fast food culture we have today. To take the time and the money to purchase food, to invite guests, prepare the food with their hands, and bring them into your table and eat a meal together, even the highest, holiest church services cannot capture that sacred, beautiful spiritual act. What reminder do we participate in frequently to connect with Jesus and restore our relationship with him? Food, bread, juice, the elements that Jesus gave us to remind us that he is alive and well, that hope is still alive with us. And the Bible, oh my gosh, you read it very long, you're going to get hungry, right? It's riddled with food-related analogies, manna from heaven, salt of the earth, yeast. I mean, it just goes on and on. Delicious wine, loaves and fishes, celebrations and banquets. And in our tradition, in that Methodist tradition, Charles Wesley, they were always having food, right? There's this amazing thing called Love Feast, which I just think that's a great name, right? Love Feast. They would gather around together and they would, in the 17th, 18th centuries, have these wonderful celebrations that would consist of scripture and singing and sharing what God was doing in your life and an offering taken for the poor. Then they would have this incredible feast just like we're about to. I think maybe, it'd be kind of cool. Have a garden here, a cafe inside our church called the Portlock Love Feast Cafe. I mean, why not, right? That'd be amazing. These love feasts, these early Methodists would do, they would just be this amazing time to get together and celebrate what God's doing and feast. Maybe in the coming months we'll have one of these instead of worship. Today's gospel lesson, the parable of the great banquet, is centered on a great celebration of food and captures this radical hospitality we're grappling with today. Actually, almost the whole chapter of Luke 14 is about food. I encourage you to read it this week. It's a challenging chapter. The parable of the dinner party, also known as the kingdom banquet, was told by Jesus as he was dining at the home of a Pharisee. And there were other powerful religious and influential leaders present. It's odd and ironic that this is happening. It's strange and unusual that Jesus is even invited. There are a few details that we know about this. The Jews had several images and descriptions they would use to talk about what it was like when Jesus would come back and save God's people. One of them is called Messianic banquet. Now, when I think about this kind of banquet, I was trying to think what this might look like. From my childhood, one of my favorite movies was called Hook. Robin Williams, Peter Pan. This is kind of what I think about. You can't really see it, but the Lost Boys are having a big food fight. There's food all over the table. Anybody remember that? You need to go watch it if you haven't seen it, because it's a great movie. Another thing is Harry Potter. They have the big dining hall, and there's just food all over the place, and they're together, they're celebrating, getting to know each other, going deeper. I've actually been in that room before at Oxford. It's not as big as it looks. The reading we talk about today opens with Jesus talking to these Pharisee leaders about humility. How necessary it is to place yourself at the bottom, to be the lowest. It's the lowest seat of honor when you're invited to a dinner party. More on that in a minute. Then Jesus goes into directly talking and addressing to the owner of the house, the one who invited all the guests. Hey, next time you throw a dinner party, why not invite folks who you wouldn't normally invite? The misfits, the people who are outcasts, people who can't return the favor to you, who don't know you're supposed to bring a bottle of wine to dinner. Maybe invite them. You will be such a blessing, and you will be so blessed to them, Jesus says to the man. And then, one of the guests at the banquet says something like this: how fortunate it will be to be one of the guests at the dinner party of the kingdom of God. And there's kind of this tension in the room. I was looking at this phrase this week in a commentary. It's a telling phrase. There's more to it than you might think. Gosh, someone please let Jesus stop talking so we can eat. I'm hungry. I feel really uncomfortable, exposed right now. Jesus kind of calling us out. I just want to eat, man. Jesus won't have it. There's this feeling of this pride and avoidance in his face. From what I read in a few commentaries, it's more like Jesus picks right up on it. He launches into the parable of the great dinner party. They're kind of like, but we're the ones who should be at the great banquet, right? We're the ones who are going to be there. And there's this weird tension. This week, Susan Minnick introduced me to the Mayor Krasnov. It was great. He is so wonderful. I really enjoyed him. But it was 9 p.m. on Monday. After I met this man, we were at the Civic League meeting. I was tired, and I kind of smelled. I needed to get home and get a shower. I was nervous, and I was having what I call a CAM. You know what that is? A celebrity anxiety moment. I just made it up, so you probably wouldn't know what it is. You'll know when I'm nervous. I just wear my heart out there on my sleeve. It's just who I am. He was joking with me. He's being very generous and fun. I really appreciated his personality. But as Susan can tell you, as Marty can tell you, I was beet red. And I was sweating like crazy. And I was so nervous. He gave me his number and said he'd be willing to help however he could. I was starstruck. I was amazed that someone could be so influential, yet so personable at the same time. That he could rise such a level in his career, yet maintain his playfulness to him. Yet he had such a long day probably, and he still had time to talk to me. And not just talk to me, but treat me as an equal. To be kind to me. I want to be like that. I mention this encounter because this is the kind of person that would throw a great banquet that Jesus is talking about in the story. The one that you want to be at this banquet. Great music, great fun, great food, lots of laughter. You would want to be there. You would not want to miss this kind of banquet that Mayor Krasnov is throwing. In the Jewish culture, it would be highly offensive at the time of the scripture here to be invited to a banquet like this. Say you're going to come, and then back out at the last minute because you got to take care of your oxen, or you got to take care of your land, or go home to your new family, new wife. It'd be highly offensive. And Jesus knew this when he was telling them this story. He talks about the three that make excuses at the last minute there. Mayor Krasnov would be outraged. Get out of the streets then. This banquet is going to happen. He tells his staff, go down to the women's shelter, get the staff, get the women, get the children, bring them all. Go to the welfare office, get all those folks. Dinner is on in their honor. Go to the field, the factories, those working double shifts, double jobs. Bring them here. Bring the shift leaders too. Bring them back here. Let's lift their spirits. Let's throw a banquet in their honor. They deserve a celebration. It's going to be a party. What is Jesus doing in this story? What does that have to do with hospitality for us today? Jesus is using the power of story to expose their whole power structure. It's twisted. He starts with the story in verse 7, where he's talking about placing yourself at the lowest seat at the banquet table. Before Jesus can give these powerful men a taste of what the kingdom of God, the banquet of God is like, he needs to explode their bloodthirsty addiction to power. In God's kingdom, it is not survival of the fittest. You claw yourself to the top and you fight to stay there. In God's kingdom, you consciously and willingly leave the whole game entirely. You leave the whole game entirely. You don't need the praise, the privilege, the pride, the system of the world gives you. Because you've accepted that in your weakness, there is your strength. In your failure, you're just finally getting started. Then in giving up control and surrendering to a higher power, you are indeed free to experience the joy that is not controlled by the whole game the Pharisees find themselves in. Can I please get an amen? Amen. Friends, as you follow Christ seriously, more and more seriously, more and more intimately, you see the absurdity of the system you live in. You begin to see that in your own heart, you've not been unlike the Pharisees. You feel this incredible longing for something more. As you watch yourself, you notice, gosh, I get offended so easily. It's almost like people have control over me. It makes you uneasy. Either that or you're so isolated and numb that you are the king or queen of your universe and no one can touch you. You don't get close to anyone. You don't talk horribly, you don't live in openness, you don't possess a graciousness or a freedom that is more like a coldness or a highly inflated ego. I've been there. Then you look at your budget. This can be scary. How much advertisers control your decisions, how much you spend, and how much that causes you to be uneasy. It's like you're trapped. Then you look at your schedule. How busy you like to stay, or at least like to seem to stay. So that you can have this sense of importance, the sense that you're in control, that you are the master of your destiny. There's a woman named Dorothy Day who co-founded the Catholic worker movement in the early 1900s. This is Dorothy Day, age 19, in 1916. Incredible woman. I encourage you to look up on her. When the Pope addressed the Congress of the United States a few years ago, she was one of the 4 exemplary Americans that he talked about. She has this phrase that she likes to call our world, filthy, rotten system. Oh, I almost didn't put this in here. It was harsh. It can even feel like divisive. But if there's any offense rising in us, it's a small taste of what the Pharisees were experiencing at the banquet with Jesus that evening. When you fill your life with Jesus, you don't simply belong or believe something different. It's like you see the whole world differently. It isn't just like that. It is that. You see everything differently. Everything changes. The whole system we exist in starts to be exposed. Power looks different. Control, violence, money, children, time, work, relationships, food. Everything changes. And then Jesus gives us this example of hospitality that draws a straight line to the priest in our story today as we close. Jesus was intentionally using the folks who denied the invitation to call out these folks gathered around the table at the banquet that evening. Surely they were the ones who would be at the kingdom feast. They were the ones in the center of God's purpose, the creme de la creme, the center of the universe. I was looking at this word hospitality this week. And I nerded out again. I started looking at the Greek and I got so excited. There was this guy named Ben Crowley who was a doctoral student who opened my eyes to this word. Based on our English definition, you would think hospitality means to have entertain your guests. Well, it's composed of two words. I don't know how to say that first word. Philao, there you go. That the first top one says that too?
Okay.
Philoxenos, that's it right there. Philao is the first word. This is where we get brotherly love, Philadelphia. The Greek is much more complex than English. There's several words for love. One of them is philao. The second is this word xenos, is where we get xenophobia, the fear of strangers, right? So what does this mean? Well, when you look at it this way, it's apparent that the biblical definition of hospitality, Jesus' definition of hospitality is quite different than ours. It's more like one who loves strangers and immigrants like you love your own brother or sister. Kind of different for me, from my own version of hospitality. That means that when we pass a stranger on the street, we smile, say hello, acknowledge them, instead of just kind of nonchalantly lost in our iPhones. That means that when we're checking out in line at the grocery store and there's a mess up from the nameless employee, we show patience, kindness, encouragement instead of harshness and rudeness to her or him. It means the guy in the car in front of us cuts us off at rush hour, doesn't get a birdie clipped to them from us, but more a prayer and blessing over their life. These are the things the Bible is talking about when it's referring to hospitality. Brotherly, sisterly love for strangers and enemies. Immigrants. Are we actually doing these things? Or are we simply having friends over for dinner and calling ourselves good? But wait, there's more. That word, xenos, the second word, had a dual meaning in Scripture. It didn't just mean immigrants. I kind of gave it away a second ago. It could also mean enemies. So taken that way, one who loves their enemies the same way they love their brother or sister. Why did it have to be that hard? Oh man, come on. This is hard. This is difficult. That means it's going to take a grace-powered life to even get close to practically living this out. Christ-like biblical hospitality is far more beautiful and radical than we ever thought or imagined. Blessing instead of cursing, love instead of hate. It's beautiful. It's radical. As a response to today's message, I think we should issue a challenge to everyone, myself included, maybe especially me. I think we should have dinner. We should make dinner. And we should invite someone over we wouldn't normally have dinner with. Maybe a coworker who'd like to get to know more. Maybe a neighbor that's strange to you or you didn't need to know more. Maybe there's someone in your life who just diagnosed with breast cancer. Maybe there's someone who just lost their job or just got out of jail. Maybe there's a single mom or a single dad that you know that would love a chance to snuck with dinner and come over and eat at your house. Maybe even take it a step further. Someone you disagree with. Someone politically or religiously you have differences with, or maybe even have some tension with. I encourage us all, I challenge us all as a response to the gospel today to see the sacredness of food that when we go in our homes, prepare a meal in this kind of graciousness. Christ is powerfully, powerfully present. Thanks be to God. Amen.